wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be?
You're depressed
But
and you went
also,
to a bar, but you didn't have a drink, but then you drove home and killed the lady. You don't remember it. Okay. Uh,
hey guys, welcome to Out the Trunk Pod with Jordan and Darius. My name is Jordan. That's Jordan B Writing on all socials.
and I'm Darius. That's D's I Love the Area on all socials.
And today we're going to be reviewing Juror number two. This movie came out in 2024, one of our most recent movies, starring Nicholas Hoult, Toni Collette, J.K. Simmons, Kiefer Sutherland, Chris Messina, and Zoe Deutsch. This movie is about a guy named Justin Kemp, who's a recovering alcoholic and expectant father who's called for jury duty in a high-profile murder trial. During the proceedings, he realizes that the horror that he was likely involved in the victim's death. Justin must navigate an agonizing moral dilemma while trying to save an innocent man. So I'm gonna toss it to you to open up Act One.
Act one, the weight of the gavel. Justin Kemp is selected for the jury of a murder trial involving a man accused of killing his girlfriend. As the evidence is presented, Justin realizes the deer he hit months ago was actually the victim. We understand that it requires a lot of suspension of belief to think that he would commit, like,
There's a lot of that in this movie.
yeah. So, it's kind of like the TV show Suits. It's like once you get
Yeah.
past the idea that it's impossible to get into a law firm that requires you to go to Harvard without going to Harvard, you start to enjoy the show.
Right.
Uh, as far and no, keeping going with the implausible thing, does anyone actually believe Clint Eastwood at 91 years old actually did any work on this? Uh,
He had a ghost director.
yeah, man, he just put his name on it. You got to sell some tickets.
Yeah.
And
He got the movie funded.
But like 91 years old, this movie is like super well crafted, and I just don't
Yeah, very well
believe
crafted.
that he was, doing too much on it. So uh this is I had I didn't I won't use the reference I was going to use, but
Okay.
he was they were propping him up for a little bit. So what else you got for Act One, man?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Something like that.
Um, yes, my first observation for this movie is one, I love how it starts out because first I thought it was going to be like, okay, like a modern version of 12 Angry Men, which it is a little bit. It does have shades of that.
Yeah.
And then there's the split, like the quick flashback of him like being at the bar that night, and I was like, oh shit, like they really played the story like really well in terms of the pacing and everything because like there could have been a way where they told it like they just gave away way too much too early, and you're like, oh okay, like oh, so I'm just biding my time to see how this ends,
Yeah.
or compared to what they did do, like this movie did a great job with like character development and exposition, so I did want to shout that out.
Yeah, I concur. This is actually like the spiritual successor of the 12 Angry Men. I
Yeah.
did like the first time I watched it, I really couldn't tell if he did it or not. They kind of hit it well in the flashbacks, but the second time I watched it
Hmm.
for the pod, I'm like, all right, it's kind of obvious he was the killer. And
Yeah.
so they did a good job of hiding it upon first viewing. But
Hmm.
it still reiterates a point I made on the previous pod: never ever skip jury duty. Because the judge says, the fact that you want to get out of this is the reason why you're the most important person to be on here. So uh, never skip jury duty because the people who are on jury duties are the people who couldn't skip jury duty, and they're the people who have nothing else going on. So you want to,
Yeah.
make sure that that sample is not diluted. What else you got for Act One?
Um, yeah, so the domestic violence angle that they took in in the trial, for the guy, I can't remember what the suspect's name was, where they're kind of like, yeah, they would argue and he broke a glass and all this stuff, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, so all these people were here and you thought he was doing all these bad things to this girl and nobody said anything, nobody intervened, nobody at all. Like everyone just stopped and watched and filmed. I mean, I think it's pretty realistic, but I just thought that it was a bit disingenuous, the kind of the stance that some of the witnesses took
Yeah.
against the guy, because it's like, okay, you're kind of losing the moral high ground when you're like, yeah, we think he hurts her, but
Yeah, I mean, listen, that superhero stuff can get you in trouble.
yeah, for sure,
Especially it can put her in danger because she's got to go home with this person one way or another.
right,
And you get to, be Captain America for those 30 minutes and get a pat on the back, but she's got to go home,
hmm
And
right,
so you want to be careful. Those are very delicate situations.
true,
And running in there with the head of testosterone, escalating things isn't always what's actually best for the victim.
The
So,
victim.
um, so if you realize you did it while in the jury box, would you come clean or try to manipulate the outcome?
Um, I thought about that, and honestly, I really don't know what the hell I do because like no one's gonna believe it was an accident
No.
or that you weren't drunk. Um, like you're fucked either way.
Yeah.
Like you send an innocent guy to jail or to death. You know, you gotta live with that for the rest of your life, or your life is over, and you gotta live with that for the rest of your life. So, I mean,
And you got a
I
baby on the
think
way.
yeah, and you
Uh,
that's the thing too. You got a baby on the way. You're trying to get yourself right. You been a good person, you know, whatever. Just had really shitty luck. I think I would say, hey, like I think I might have been there. I'd say I was there the night it happened. Um, and I had an accident near the rail. I wouldn't say I hit her because I don't know if I hit her or not. But I'd say, yeah, yeah, check my Carfax or something. I don't know. Um,
I don't believe anyone who says they would admit it. I just don't believe them. I don't, I don't,
I
I don't believe one would make such a one-to-one swap on their freedom in that way.
hear you.
Um, Especially when you have a child on the way and it's about something bigger than you, especially when the defendant is an objectively bad person.
Hmm.
And yeah,
There isn't a plausible deniability where you could just trick yourself that you didn't really do anything.
I just don't. It would be easy for me to say, yeah, I'd tell and do everything, but I just don't believe I would, you know? So,
Yeah. I wouldn't
um,
confess to everything. I'd be like, hey, I was in the bar there that night. I don't think I can be on here on
yeah,
this jury.
that's a way to get out of it. But I think he wanted to
Yeah.
stay on because he wanted to manipulate him to get the guy free. He
Get
wanted
the
to do
guy
his
free.
12
Yeah.
Angry Men thing, even though he
He
was,
did.
part of the
He
guilty
tried.
party. So, Act two, the deliberation and doubt. The jury begins to deliberate, and Justin finds himself in a nightmare scenario. He uses his position to cast doubt on the prosecution's case to avoid a conviction while J.K. Simmons' character starts investigating. Um, they did say something that was very important in here, and we kind of went over it in 12 Angry Men, and I just wanted to reiterate, it is
Hmm.
not the defense's job to prove they didn't do it. Uh,
Correct.
the burden of proof is on the prosecution and or the state. People forget that anytime you talk about the Casey Anthony trial, everyone says, well, she didn't prove what happened to her daughter. And it's like, that's not her
That
job.
wasn't their responsibility.
Like, so that's just one thing I harp on, man. People lose sight of that, especially when you follow a lot of like true crime content and people are always like, well, why did he say where he was? Not a job to say where he was, you know? So
Yeah.
what else you got for Act Two?
Um, yeah, speaking of like the spinning relief, this is kind of this is all act two basically.
Yeah.
So you have this guy arrested for hitting her with no murder weapon. Both her shoulders were broken
Yeah.
and her head was cracked pretty much. And you thought that was just from her falling 10 feet? Like nothing about this, nothing about
Well,
that made sense.
so okay. Here's what I'll say. Obviously, this has been dramatized for movies.
Right.
But you would be surprised how much cops can be susceptible to tunnel vision in
Oh
investigations.
no, that part I do get
They
100%.
didn't like the guy. He's the husband. The husband always does it.
They always, yeah.
And it's almost not intentional in the sense that when you have tunnel vision, you just interpret everything in the essence of like confirming your priors.
Right.
And she only fell 15 feet. Well, she was fragile, and two broken shoulders.
Hmm.
Like it looked like a car accident for sure. But,
Right. Right. It's by a
when
guardrail. What?
a lot of prosecutors and investigators confuse their job. They think their job is closing cases. It's not.
Hmm.
Your job is to find out the truth.
Right.
Which, you pin it on the
And that's the
husband, you close
problem.
the case. That's fine. But did you find out the truth? And sometimes searching for the truth might lead to a cold file. And,
Right.
obviously, again, over the top, dramatized for movies. But man, I have heard some stories and read some files of cops who just refuse to accept any information that didn't confirm their priors. So it
Yeah.
happens, not to this degree. Well, maybe, but it does happen.
Hope not.
Um, I didn't know you're not supposed to investigate on your own time. I
I didn't know
thought,
that either. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't know that.
yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's just one of those things I didn't know till I watched this movie. What else you got for Act Two?
Um, yeah, and speaking of someone else who wasn't supposed to be on the fucking jury, the fact that the detective hid his identity
Yeah,
from
we didn't hide
everyone.
it. They didn't ask.
Well, that also is a problem. Talk about bad jury selection process. The fact that he just like and then waited to also why tell everyone in the jury? Like
Yeah,
in
maybe
theory,
Clint
one of them
Eastwood
would have.
did invest did direct this.
Yeah, in theory, one of them would have been like, "Hey, y'all know there's a cop in here, right?"
Yeah,
He would have been thrown out.
yeah. No cop is ever going to get on a jury, so that's true.
Right.
That is true. I did, and then like to do this like great reveal because now you want to get off the jury now that you've poisoned it. That's the other thing that was
Right.
unrealistic. The judge would have called a
Throwing both of
mistrial,
them out of there. Yeah,
thrown
correct.
both of them out, or just declared a mistrial because, um, like we have juries who are investigating on their own, who are compromised, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So yeah, anything else for Act Two?
What's that? Yeah, so they made a great point about like they highlighted the fact that he was a public defender and just
Yeah,
kind of what he was up against going against not literally just also obviously he's going up against the state and a prosecutor, but the prosecutor who's running for DA.
yeah.
I mean, by the way, is that not conflict of interest?
No, that
That
happens
just
all the time. I
seems
mean, it is, but it happens all the time.
I
Um,
say that just seems kind of crazy to me. To
nah,
have a big trial like that in an election year.
it is a conflict of interest, but it happens all the time.
Mm.
That's how you get elected DA is closing popular cases. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was
uh,
crazy.
yeah, I mean, and it did kind of highlight but keep in mind, man, they have a good suspect, and
Yeah, they do.
oftentimes
They do.
the truth is stranger than fiction, and you're weighing a whole bunch of different factors and you're just deciding what's most likely to have happened. Now, obviously,
Hmm.
in that case, if all you got is most likely, you have to vote to acquit. But, you know,
Right.
the townspeople see a murdered girl and see a abusive gang member husband, and they're
Right.
like, well, what are you waiting for? You know,
Of course he did
like
it.
where are the
Yeah.
handcuffs? So
Yeah.
it's not like she was doing something against the public's interest, So
That's true too.
um,
Um, I did also really love I viewed this as a call back to 12 Angry Men where they're talking about the witness who saw somebody in a car get out in the rain. And I can't remember who it was, but one of the guys said, I think it was the old guy on the jury. He said, maybe he just wanted to feel important. Oh no, he said himself. He was like, it feels good to feel important. And it reminded me of what the old guy said in 12 Angry Men, where he said, this kind of guy, he wore like a tattered suit into court. Who does that? He's somebody who's been ignored all his life. He probably just wanted to feel seen, which is why he may have it fabricated or exaggerated in his mind what he thought he saw the night of the murder. It reminded me a lot of that, which I thought was a cool detail.
also, it's nighttime, people are unreliable.
Yeah,
Um, you're outside of a bar, how many people have been drinking, you're asking people, you know, when you leave a bar and you walk from the bar to the Uber, right, at nighttime at
yeah,
1 a.m., are you scanning for details of what's going on? And so
right,
let's say, 2 weeks later, some investigators like, did you see a guy outside that bar at 12:30? You're like, yeah, I was getting an Uber. He wore a
yeah,
red jacket. How
yeah.
sure
He was
he
wearing
wore that?
jeans.
Yeah, like how much were you paying attention, three shots deep getting into an Uber at 1 in the morning,
Right.
when it's pitch black out. Like it's so easy to be sure of yourself
Hmm.
and even feel like you are, but
Right.
how accurate was that? So
Yeah, that's the hard part about like eyewitness because I feel like no one's lying. Most of the time,
yeah.
they're probably not even lying. They just thought they saw what they saw, or wanted to see what they saw, or don't remember exactly what they saw.
Memories are unreliable, man, especially when you get into details like the color of the shirt and you
Hmm.
know, we hung out Friday. What color shirt was I wearing? You have no fucking
Black.
idea.
You were wearing black. You were wearing a black polo.
I was, but like most people just would not have no idea. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's 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 harder than it seems. What were you
Right.
doing last Tuesday at 4 o'clock? You answer it, and then someone digs into it, and it's like, okay, maybe that wasn't exactly
Right.
accurate. And
Right.
there's a gap between lying and the truth. Like you couldn't. Maybe you had half of it right, but you just filled in the blanks because that's what people do. It's
Hmm.
like song lyrics. You know the first and the third, the first and the 10th word, and you just kind of made up the middles.
You
Uh,
just watermelon in the middle.
so moving into Act Three, the verdict of conscience. I think I pronounced that correctly. As the pressure from the prosecution and the jurors mounts, Justin's secret begins to unravel. He is forced to choose between his freedom and his family or the life of the man wrongly accused. I guess my observation kind of comes after. So, what you got for Act Three?
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. So okay, yes, I remember what I was gonna say now. So the when I first watched the movie, or the beginning of the movie, I thought that him and his wife just had no chemistry,
Yeah,
and I thought it was like really bad acting with them. And then after in the act three, the reveal is that they had lost a set of twins together. And then I was like, okay, they were just traumatized and grieving, and they were just really worried about the upcoming pregnancy. Um, it really like highlighted just how great their performances actually were. Because at
yeah.
first I was like, why are they so awkward? They seem like strangers. And it's like, no, there's this tension there that they don't want to speak on because of the trauma. And I thought they both did a great job of portraying that.
The Holt guy, what's his name? Nicholas Holt.
Yeah, Nicholas Holt.
I came across him watching, just on random Wednesday. I went to the movie theater and I watched a movie called The Order. It's about
Okay.
this like super right wing white supremacist cult
Mm.
in Idaho in the 80s. And he played the main character. He was the lead in the movie, and he was spectacular.
Yeah, he's
Um,
really good.
and he's the only reason I gave this movie a shot. I watched it like I don't know 6 months ago or whenever it came out.
Hmm.
It would have been a year ago because it's 2024, and I was like, I want to see what else he's in. And this was not as
Yeah.
good as The Order, but I was like,
Okay.
it's a nice little spin on 12 Angry Men. I love 12 Angry
Yeah,
Men. I
I fucked
enjoyed
with it.
it, and he's again. The funding fucked up and the distribution model is bad, but Hollywood, as far as talent, under 30, under
Yeah,
40,
he's really, really good.
Hollywood has a lot of under 40 talent right now.
Hmm.
He's good. I thought he was Jacob Elordi for a minute, but
Oh,
when I got home and Googled it, I was like, that's not the guy from
Euphoria.
nah, what's the movie he was in?
Uh,
Britain and they were rich
oh,
on a mat.
Saltburn.
There you go. Yeah, man, a lot of good actors and actresses going around. But this is not as good as 12 Angry Men, but I liked it because it had more
No,
gray
yeah,
area in the end.
I agree.
There wasn't a pretty bow on the ending. You get he admits to it, but he doesn't admit to it to the prosecutor. And
Hmm.
I've read people say that he was a jerk and he did this and he sent an innocent man to prison. Here's what I'll say. I don't believe anyone who says they would have done differently. I just don't. You're gonna get out of bed with your pregnant wife and your
Yeah.
comfortable home and walk down to downtown DA's office and say, "Send me to prison, please." Just don't believe. I just don't believe.
Yeah.
I just don't believe anyone.
And you were literally a needle in a haystack.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you have no
I'd have gotten
recollection of this
myself off the
event.
jury. I would have gotten myself off the jury, but that's about it.
I think I would have done exactly what he did. I would stayed on the jury and try to get an innocent verdict.
Yeah.
And that would have been my compromise. But listen, call me what you want. It's selfish. Yeah, it is. I'll be that. But no, I'm not volunteering to go to prison.
Yeah. And this may sound bad, I don't know, but like he didn't I mean, obviously he didn't knowingly kill her, but it's like he had no idea he killed her.
Yeah.
Like it was months later rather before he even realized it. Like
You think he was drunk?
that's what I was gonna ask you. Yeah, do you think he was drunk?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I think
I
so
do.
too. Yeah, I
You
think so
know,
too.
everything about that codes is blackout drunk driving, except for what he said. Oh, I wasn't
Yeah.
drunk. I didn't have a drink at the bar. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, but like everything else about this code's that way. You were at a
Right.
bar. Uh,
Yeah, you were at a bar, you ordered a drink, you left, I'm assuming without paying the tab, and the bartender saw you, she kind of recognized you but didn't say anything. I
yeah.
don't know.
And then you hit a
Um,
deer, didn't check anything, didn't get out
d
and check
d
the
d
car,
didn't
and went
check
home.
anything.
And then
Uh,
you were drunk, dude. Like,
yeah. I believe he was drunk too. and I get it because again, it was the anniversary of him losing children. Like
Yeah.
who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be?
You're depressed
But
and you went
also,
to a bar, but you didn't have a drink, but then you drove home and killed a lady. You don't remember it. Okay. Uh,
right. And it's
okay.
like,
All
and it's
right.
also like, not to mention like the speaking of like suspending belief. So he got the car worked on. Uh, Nobody saw any blood or like blonde hair on the car. Like my dad hit a deer once,
Yeah.
and like the front of his hood of his car was basically just smashed in,
Yeah.
and there was like you could see the deer fur everywhere on like stuck in the metal of the car. You mean somebody hit this girl at 50 miles an hour, and there's just no blood or anything on the car? I don't know.
Yeah. Color me skeptical, buddy, but I think
Yeah,
you broke your sobriety that night because you were under a lot of stress and
yeah,
um you killed a lady and you got away with it. And that's not great.
almost.
He did get away with it. You know, the prosecution isn't going to go after him. They got someone in prison for it.
But remember,
Um,
at the end of the movie, she comes to his door.
oh yeah, but like, I don't. I mean, you think she's going after it?
I think so.
I just don't think people are that noble. The case is
I hear
closed.
you.
She's going to get her promotion. The guy she put away is not sympathetic figure,
True.
and she doesn't really gain anything by doing it.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Did you think he was at the end where he was talking to her at the bench outside the courthouse? Did you think he was guilt ridden, or do you think he was arrogant in that kind of speech he gave her?
Guilt-ridden. I do think he was a good person. He just
Yeah, me too.
is an alcoholic, and alcoholics drive drunk a lot. And he didn't mean to hit her. I'm sure he felt bad about it. He stayed on the jury to try to manipulate it. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he's a good person. But all even good people have their limits, and he drew the limit at sending myself to prison. But
Right.
his conscience got the best of him, so he had to let her know that we all won here. And I don't know.
I hear you. And
Life is
also,
great. That's the gray of the movie.
yeah, and she would look really bad,
Yeah.
being like, yeah, so actually, I got the wrong guy because I
Yeah.
had tunnel vision, just like the cops, and all the evidence suggested that he didn't do it, which it did
And I
suggest that he
ignored it
didn't do
all
it, and I ignored it all because
because I
I
was too
wanted to.
ambitious.
Yeah, but no, I'm not too ambitious, so I'm gonna get the guy.
Yeah. Actually, after all of that, after the guy spent a month in prison eating noodles, I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
save the day. I'm gonna clean up the mess I made.
right.
Oh yeah, also to release his gang member back to continue beating his wife. Uh, it's like this is the path I decided to take.
Right.
Um, I guess you kind of answered my question. My last question was justice served, and clearly I don't think you believe so. You don't think so?
Um, Honestly, justice for who though? Like, I think the victim did not get justice.
No,
Uh, but she was a victim possibly of domestic violence, so in that sense, yes. Um, Justin, I think, deserved justice because he didn't he didn't intend to kill anyone. It wasn't, a malicious act. So did he deserve to have his life ruined and his child grow up with a ruined life? I
no.
would
I
say
mean,
no.
we'll make that argument about Henry Ruggs, though, right?
Right.
He didn't mean to kill that
Yeah.
lady, and I think he should be under the jail for the rest of eternity. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it doesn't. When you decide to get hammered that way and get
Yeah.
behind a wheel and you kill somebody, yeah, I don't really have much in the way of
Sympathy. Yeah. I guess because it's a movie, I have much more leeway than I would in real life.
yeah. Well, you see this with Henry Rudd, and I'm
And
like, man,
and
that
then
lady
again, the
was
movie
burned
doesn't show that
alive.
he was drunk.
I mean, sure, the movie does
Well,
not
we're
explicitly
concluding
state
that
it.
we're concluding that he was drunk. Concluding that he was drunk.
I
Yeah, no, the
find it
Henry Rugg shit was,
impossible to
yeah,
believe that. Well, how does that happen sober?
yeah. I don't know.
And you think you
I
hit a
don't know.
deer?
Right,
A deer is like 100 pounds heavier than the average woman. You know,
right. and
Hitting
your
a deer
glass didn't
can be
shatter.
dangerous to you in the car.
Yeah, 'cause the antlers could come through the car or the window. Yeah, and think about that. Like if you hit a deer, but your window didn't break, come on,
Yeah.
man.
I think he got drunk, he hit that woman, he blacked out.
Hmm.
But you never, wake up a little hazy from the night before and it's things start to come back to you. And
Yeah,
I believe at one point it came back to him and he just buried it emotionally. And then when he got back on that
yeah,
jury, 2 plus 2 hit 4. And he just I take it
yeah.
back.
He
I don't think
probably,
this was a
yeah.
great guy.
No, you're right. Now nothing about it. Now that I'm really thinking about it and talking it through, I think you're right. So no justice was not served, unless he did get arrested at the end, which they left ambiguity there. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. Justice was not served. You got anything else for Act 3?
Um, no, that was all I had. Well, I will say, so I did like I would say a twist of the black guy being in favor of being like, no, he did it. Because
Yeah.
I kind of thought he would be more sympathetic towards the defendant than he actually was.
Well, so you got a woman beater, a woman's dead. I definitely could understand why someone would just be pretty ardent
Yeah,
and throw that guy under the jail. But it was a nice little switch of pay. It was nice to have, uh, you know, 12 Angry Men was very much a product of his time. It was just like 12 white dudes in suits. It was nice to have
right.
a multicultural staff with staff
Yeah.
and jurors with different with women and different jobs and so on and so forth. So
Hmm.
was not as good though. What do you rate it?
Um, I really like this movie. I'm gonna give it 4 stars.
I agree, man. 4 for me as well. I think it's just a really well crafted, um, just a good, well crafted movie. Hour, no, 2 hours, hour 50, 2 hours, gets you in, gets you
Yep.
out, well acted, leaves a little bit, makes you think a little bit, leaves a little gray, doesn't hold your
Hmm.
hand, dialogue driven, not a lot of explosions, just a classic
Yeah.
old, reminds me like, a movie that would have been made in the 90s or something. So,
Yeah. It doesn't preach to you
yeah.
necessarily.
There's no heroes and villains like a Marvel movie. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
these are just
It leaves
regular
you with just
people who are messy, you
it
know.
leaves you with questions. Like at the end, when it ended and the door opened and saw her and the screen went to black, I was like, I feel like I did it. I was like,
Yeah.
shit, I'm going to jail.
Imagine though, like living with that though, like because
Yeah.
this isn't double jeopardy. He was never on trial for this. So and murder is there's no statute of limitations. So for the
Mhm.
rest of his life, the next knock on the door could be handcuffs.
Could be, yeah. Do you think
And
he was relieved in a way?
no, I don't actually. There's nothing relieving about leaving you pregnant,
Your
or they
life
had the
being
baby
ruined.
by then. But all right, thanks for listening. My name is Darius. That's D's all up the area on all socials.
And I'm Jordan. That's Jordy B writing on all socials.
Please rate, like, subscribe. We're at Out the Trunk Pod on all socials. That is Out the Trunk Pod on all socials.
And for any ongoing movie recommendations, feel free to reach out to us via email at outthetrunkpod@gmail.com. That's outthetrunkpod@gmail.com. That's a wrap. Thanks for coming to the movies with us. Next week, we're going to be reviewing, sorry, next episode, we're going to be reviewing Arrival.
All
Y'all take
right,
it
y'all.
easy.